this question, who am I? A scientific outlook. So let us get into this question. So now let me go through the next presentation, next slide. So what we are going to look at is the elements of material nature. So let us go through this in detail. So first we need to understand about all the material nature to answer this question, who am I? In order to answer this question, we need to understand very clearly about this material nature. So there is earth, water, fire, air, and space. So here, the earth, our body, first of all, let us consider our body. Our body is made up of all these things: earth, water, fire, air, and space. So all the minerals, materials in our body, which is made up of mainly carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. So that is the major components, major elements in our body. So in this earth and also water is actually, we know that it is about 70-80% of our body is water. So earth, water, and then fire. Fire is the heat. So our body, we know that our body temperature has to be maintained. So this fire is very important thing. So earth, water, fire, and then air. Air is the like we know that we breathe in air. So that's why oxygen. When I mentioned about oxygen, so that is coming from air, and even the water also it has got oxygen. So earth, water, fire, and air, and then space. So space is, of course, we occupy space in this world. So that's why the space. So earth, water, fire, air, and space. So these are the major components of our body. So that way it is known as our gross body. So now the next material nature is actually, the next one is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So this we don't know much in our modern science. They don't teach all these subjects because no one knows about mind, intelligence, and false ego. No one knows. So now we are going to study and understand about this also a little bit. This mind, intelligence, and false ego. So mind, we need to understand about mind and intelligence, false ego. In Bhagavad Gita, that's why I said that I'm going to bring about the modern science and Bhagavad Gita connect together, because I find Bhagavad Gita is full of science only. So in one verse in Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter, verse number 4, Lord Sri Krishna says that Bhumir Apo Analo Vayu Kam Mano Buddhir Evacha Ahankaram Iti Yamme Binna Prakriti Astata. So earth, water, fire, air, and space. Bhumir Apo Analo Vayu Kam. So then Mano Buddhir Ahankaram, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So we don't know a lot about mind, intelligence, and false ego. We know so much about earth, water, fire, air, and space. So all our modern science, what we study, the basic fundamentals like physics, chemistry, or biology, or even mathematics, any subjects we study. So we have a thorough understanding. We have a very good understanding about these 5 basic material elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. But unfortunately, our science cannot say much about mind, intelligence, and false ego. But in Bhagavad Gita, when these elements of material nature are listed, there it's very clearly, totally it says that totally there are 8. These 8 are the elements of material nature. So there is Astata. Astata means 8. And there is also known as Binna Prakriti. So Bhumir Apo Analo Vayu Kam Mano Buddhir Ahankar. So we need a separate discussion, separate webinar on mind, intelligence, and false ego. So now next material nature is the part of that is the 3 modes of nature. No one knows about it if we don't read Bhagavad Gita. It is not possible for us to understand this very important science that each and everyone is controlled by these 3 modes of material nature. Everyone is controlled. No one is free. So that way, if we study all these things, all these verses, many verses, they deal about this one separate chapter called Three Modes of Material Nature, the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So if we study and understand it completely, we know that we are not free. Even though we celebrate Independence Day and we think that we are a free people, but in reality, no one is free. Everyone is under the control of one of these three modes of material nature at any point of time. So that is a science we need to understand. So about material nature. And the next is the time. So time also we need to understand. So now I'm going to go over all these things at a little bit length so that we will understand, we will really able to get the answer for our question today. That is, who am I? So I mentioned that our body is made up of these 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. So now what we are understanding from this Bhagavad Gita, that there are 10 senses. We know that senses. And when we go and study any psychology or neuroscience subjects, so they study about senses. And the same thing, even when we go to school also, even in the middle school level or like science, when anyone first starts studying about this science, they teach about this seeing, touching, smelling, tasting, and all those things. These are all senses. So there are, but in Bhagavad Gita it says very clearly, totally there are 10 senses. We have 10 senses. So those 10 senses can be grouped into 2 categories. One is knowledge acquiring senses and another is working senses. So the knowledge acquiring senses are known as Jnanendriyas. So that is our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So all these things are knowledge acquiring senses. Because we have in our body all these neurons, basically they are connecting to the brain. So that's why we have receptors in our skin. For example, the touch, the sense receptors, and even for our eyes. So we get the light, and then there is a photoreceptors are there. So like that, everything, our ears, the ear drums. So basically it senses the pressure in our atmosphere. So a sound vibration, basically the vibration. So like that, all these things are knowledge acquiring senses. So you are getting the knowledge. So when we have our body, so with all these senses, we are acquiring the knowledge. So if the senses are not working, we cannot. For example, if a person is blind, he cannot understand what the colors are. We cannot explain him what is the color like green, red, blue, all such things. So because we get that knowledge only when that sense of seeing works. So that way, each and every sense is very important for us. But we need to understand very important thing. These senses are made up of this earth, water, fire, air, and space. That's it. So everything. So because if you look at the periodic table in chemistry, so all these basic elements, there are so many elements, but in that, only the 4 are primarily our body is composed of: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, as I said. And of course, there are a lot of other important things are needed also. So that's very important. So those elements also are very, very important. For example, phosphorus, without that, we cannot even have our DNAs. So a lot of things are there. So now, then the working senses. So the working senses are, so what is known as motor sensory systems. So in our body, we have somatic sensory system and motor sensory systems, all such things are there. So in the motor sensory system, so we are able to actually move our hands, move our legs, and we are able to talk. We are able to even control our anus and genitals. So these are all under our control. And there are autonomic nervous system is there. So that is, we cannot control. So that is basically connected to our internal organs. So that our brain controls. So that way, these working senses, basically they are our motor nervous system. So motor nervous system, basically. So totally there are 10 senses. So 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. The working senses are known as karmendriyas. So we know about jnanendriyas and karmendriyas, but very important point that all these 10 senses are made up of earth, water, fire, air, and space. That's very important. We need to understand they are made up of earth, water, fire, air, and space. So whatever subject we go to study, we go to universities, college, and we specialize in it, we study, everything is based upon this earth, water, fire, air, and space. So now we are talking about the gross body. So the gross body, we know that we understand about the gross body very well. And all this gross body, So these eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, and then voice, legs, hands, anus, and genitals, they are all made up of matter. They are all made up of atoms. Atoms, electrons, neutrons, protons, everything, that's what it is made up of. And even the sense objects which are external to our material body. So they are external, the sense objects. For example, for eyes, so the sense of see. So then for ears, the sense of hearing. So for nose, the sense of smelling. So the sense of, there is the objects for form, objects for sound, objects for smell, and similarly objects for taste. So the food we eat. So the tasty foods we are eating. So that is the tongue. And then skin. So that is the objects for skin also, to touch something hard or soft. So these are all sense objects. So now all these things, whatever I have just explained in this particular slide, there is just one verse, just in 4 lines. Lord Sri Krishna is explaining very, very clearly. Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhigi avyaktamevacha indriyani dasa ekamcha panchaicentriya gocharat. So Mahabhutani means these 5 great elements. Mahabhutani, earth, water, fire, air, and space. Ahankara. Ahankara is the false ego. So there is a very important subject we need to understand. So I will just quickly explain what ahankara, false ego, means. So we are controlled by these 3 modes of material nature, but we think that we are doing it. But in reality, the 3 modes of nature are doing everything. So that wrongful thinking that I am the doer, so that is what is known as ahankara. So now we understand very much about the gross body. So now the next slide, which focuses a little bit on a subtle body. So this mind, intelligence, and false ego, these are part of our subtle body. So that's why with our modern science, because they are not gross, so when it is subtle, you are not able to see. You are not able to see under any kind of microscope or electron microscope or anything. So that's why this is known as subtle body. So mind, intelligence, and false ego. So the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks fully about mind, about how to control the mind. Just one verse there to quote the 6th chapter, 6th sloka. Lord Sri Krishna says that for a person who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, the mind will remain the worst enemy. Bandhuratma atmanastasya yenatmaiva atmanajitaka anatmanastu satrutve vartetatmaiva satruvat. So bandhur means friend, satru means enemy. So our mind is friend if it is under our control. But if we are controlled by our mind, then it is our enemy. So now this chapter, 6th chapter, teaches us very clearly how to make our mind as our best friend. So that way, this mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are part of this subtle body. So now the 3 modes of material nature. So there is goodness, passion, and ignorance. Sattva, Rajo, and Tamo gunas. This itself is a great science, very important science. Every one of us at all time are controlled by a combination of these 3 modes of material nature. They are like 3 basic colors. So when you mix those red, green, blue, you mix them, you will get all different colors. So similarly, these 3 modes of material nature, a particular combination of a mixture of these 3 modes of material nature is defining a person's characters, basically a personality. The personality comes from these 3 modes of material nature. So that is known as Swabhava. So that itself is a very important science. And next is the time. Of course, here everything is matter of time. So here we are just, I'm just going to explain a little bit more about time in the next slide. Okay, here we can look at it. So as far as our gross body, what is happening to our gross body as a function of time? Our gross body is changing all the time. That's what we need to understand from Bhagavad Gita. So it is not constant. All the time our gross body is changing. Right from we are conceived in our mother's womb. So right from one cell, so we start dividing our cells. We means our body. It's not we, our body. Our body starts dividing into many cells, and all organs are formed. And then when we take birth in this world, then as a baby, as an infant, then we start growing. So what is happening? We are eating and we are taking food, and all those food molecules, the molecules in our food, so they are becoming the part of our body. So that's why we start growing. That's why we are putting weight. So the weight gain. So, but the important point, we need to understand that in our body, all these biomolecules, so they are mainly biomolecules. So they are not same all the time in terms of electrons, protons. If you get into atomic level, in the molecular level, they are always changing, because every day when we eat food, so it is getting digested, it is getting absorbed in our system, and it is supplied to all the cells. So all the fat molecules are carbohydrates, the sugar which gives energy. So everything, proteins, because all the amino acids which makes all proteins. So everything is changing all the time. So nothing is same. So that's what we need to understand. The body comes into existence and then it grows. So when we grow, and then when we become an adult, then it stays for some time. So then it produces some effects, then gradually dwindles and then vanishes into oblivion. So that's what happens. That's what happens to our body. So oblivion means there is no trace of our existence. When we die, our body completely disappears, completely disintegrates. Again, it gets into the earth. So that's why earth, water, fire, air, everything, all these things, the energy in our body, the heat in our body, again gets into the heat in this universe. So the water in our body again gets into the water. So similarly, the earth, all other minerals and everything, all the carbon and all such things, so they are becoming a part of the earth. So that way, this body is temporary. This body is always changing. So that concept, until now, all these slides, we understand very, very clearly. But we have some problems we need to understand. What are our real problems? The inevitable problems for this grass body. So the real problems, we are trying to solve so many problems in this world. Right now, this whole world is rushing to solve the problem due to this coronavirus, the COVID-19. So like that, there are a lot of problems we face. This world itself is full of problems. We need to recognize this very important fact, because Lord Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this is dukkhalayam, asasvatam. Asasvatam means it's a temporary, and dukkhalayam means it's miserable place. So what is our real problems? Our real problems are birth, old age, disease, and death. So these are our real problems, the real problems for the body. The very fact that we are taking birth itself is a problem. So no child smiles at the time of birth. Every child has to cry for oxygen, so to survive. Even if the child is not crying, so we will make the child to cry. So that way, right from birth, we are struggling, we are suffering. And at the time of death also, we are struggling for oxygen. So now, especially with this kind of coronavirus, people get into ventilators and all such things. So the main problem is oxygen supply to our body. So that way, this birth and then old age, and then disease, and then death. So this is known as janma, birth, jara, that is old age, vyadi, that is disease, and then mrityu, death. So that's why janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, dukkha dosanu darshanam. So one who is able to see that, one who is able to realize that this birth, old age, disease, and death are our real problems, only that person is in knowledge. Yajnanam, that's what jnanam. Anything other than this is ajnanam. Ajnanam means ignorance. So etat jnanam, ajnanam yatatonyaka. That's what Krishna says. So now these are the real problems we need to solve. These are our 4 inevitable problems. So now let us come to our question today. Who am I? This is a very important question. So if you just recollect quickly what all we just discussed, that is, we understood very clearly about this material nature. So earth, water, fire, air, and space, mind, intelligence, and false ego, and then 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and 5 working senses, and 5 types of sense objects, and then 3 modes of material nature, and then time. So that's what we understand about until now. That's what about our world. That's what we know about it. Everything until now in our world through our modern science. So now the question here: am I the grass body? Earth, water, fire, air. Am I carbon or hydrogen or nitrogen or oxygen or what? What am I? Am I the grass body? That question can be asked. So definitely it is not the yes question, yes answer. So because this is always changing, the grass body is always changing. The body what we had at the time of birth is definitely not the same body what we are having now. Completely changed. Even according to medical science, our cells are keep on dividing and new cells are forming, and our entire cells are completely, all these things are completely changed. The original cells are dying. So in 7 years of time, we will not have any of the single original cells. It all depends upon which organ, depending upon the organ. Some organs, the cells, they divide very slow, like liver and other things. And some organs, like some tissues, muscle everywhere, the cells will divide fast. So in a day, so the cycle is only in a day they will divide. So like that, basically, we need to understand that our body is always changing. It is not same at all. And but something is constant here. So mother, even at the age of birth or at the age of 50, the mother calls the son as son only. So the relationship has never changed. So that means something within this body all through this life has not changed. But the body itself completely changed in terms of atomic level, in terms of molecular level, atomic level. It has completely changed. So no one can deny this very important fact. But something has not changed. That's why we are feeling that same person, that same. So the degree what I got 20 years ago is still valid here now. So all these things. So then, am I the subtle body? Am I the mind? Am I the intelligence? So that's also definitely no. Our mind is always changing. So I'm talking about something which is not changing. So which is not at all changing, which is constant in our body. So that way, we are not the subtle body. And am I this material nature? No, we are also not this part of material nature. So everything in this world, everything is keep on changing. Then really, what is the answer for this question? Who am I? It's a very important question. So, no. For all these answers, no. Who am I? Am I the grass body? No. Am I the subtle body? No. Am I the material nature? No. Okay, I'm not this body. So now we understand very scientifically, very clearly that I am not this body. That fact is very clear, scientifically proven that I am not this body. Then who am I? Who am I which is not changing? So that's what we are studying, understanding that I am the soul which is superior to dull matter. So that's what we need to understand, the concept, the scientific basis of the soul. So people suddenly say, oh, how can I believe that there is soul? I can't believe it. So it is all nonsense you are talking. Because I know I'm talking about all this science only until now. Until now about everything, all these subjects about physics or chemistry or biology or what is happening in our body, what happens when we eat food and how it goes through the different cycles in our body, glycolysis and citric acid cycle and electron transport chain and all these things, how our energy is converted in our body. So everything we understand, I know very well. But something is not changing in our body. That's what we need to understand. If someone is not willing to believe, it's up to that person. I don't care. But the important fact we need to understand here is that we believe in electrons. We believe in electrons, protons, neutrons, all such things. No one has seen electrons. No one has seen. So we just, with our experiments, with our evidence, with our experiment and theoretical models, we find out all this molecular orbital theory, all such things, electron valence, electron theory, all these things. All those things we call it as theories. So from those theories only, we are understanding. So now just because we believed in that theory, just because we believe in that there is electron, so how much advancement we made in our science. Even talking about our body also, starting from the photosynthesis. When the light comes from the sun, so it just breaks the water and it releases electron. It's very difficult to break the bond in water because it's a very strong polar covalent bond. But still the light energy is so strong. So it releases that electron. So that goes through the photosynthesis and transport chain, and that gets into the carbohydrate. That electron goes into the carbohydrate, and that's why the sugar, it forms the sugar in our in the plants. They make sugar, and we eat that sugar, and that again that same electrons, they get transferred into all this, as I said, this TCA cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle, which is also known as citric acid cycle, and then that gets into electron transport chain, and then that forms ATP. So that is what called adenosine triphosphate. That's what gives energy to our body. So we need to understand, just because we believe in this electron, which no one has seen, and now we are doing all these things because of our understanding of electrons. We are having electricity, we are having this internet connection, we are having this Zoom webinar, and we are talking all those things. How we have advanced so much, that is just because we believe. We believed in, we understand, we believed in that we are actually, we believed in the existence of electrons. So similarly, the question here is that this body is always changing, but something is not changing. It's a very nice, it's a theory, but if you believe in this theory, then the advancement what we are going to make is so much. So that's why this concept, this scientific basis of understanding that I am the soul which is superior to dull matter is very important. If we just believe in, then if we study the entire Bhagavad Gita, understand everything, that makes a lot of sense in our life. So that way, this slide explains, until now whatever I have explained, this slide very clearly explains. That is, self is in the middle, and then subtle body, so mind, intelligence and ego, and then the gross body, that is earth, water, fire, air and space, ether. So now, this is a very important law. So because I'm a scientist, I did my PhD in mechanical engineering, so from IIT Madras. So everything I approach as a science. So we have so many laws. We have the laws, the Newton's laws of motion. So that's why we understand, we have met so much of from classical mechanics. We also have quantum mechanics. So all these laws we derive. And we also have the law of thermodynamics, the first law of thermodynamics, the energy, the conservation of energy, the law of conservation of energy that comes from the first law of thermodynamics. And the law of conservation of mass. What is the law of conservation of energy? Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be changed from one form into another. That's what we know. So from the light energy which is coming from the sun, that is converted into all kinds of energy. And you know the ATP is formed by a mechanical energy. There is a rotor in our each and every cell in the mitochondria. So there are cells, they rotate actually. They physically rotate and they form ATP. So that light energy is converted into mechanical energy. That's why we are able to move, we are able to do a lot of things. So the energy can be changed from one form into another. So, but it cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed. So when we understand the existence of soul, the presence of soul, what is the law of conservation of soul? Soul can neither be created nor be destroyed. Na jayate mriyate va khadasi. That's it. Just in one line in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna is giving the law of conservation of soul. Na jayate mriyate va khadasi. The soul has neither birth nor death at any point of time. So that means the soul can neither be created and nor be destroyed. Na hanyate hanyamane sarire. When this body is destroyed, this soul is not destroyed. This soul cannot be destroyed also. It cannot be destroyed. So that's why, that way we understand very clearly the law of conservation of soul is that soul can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can only be transmigrated from one body to another at the time of death. Again, here the concept of reincarnation comes into question. Some people believe in reincarnation, someone don't. But what the science says that in our body, in our life, current life, we are making so many reincarnations. The body what we have right now, as I mentioned earlier, explained very clearly earlier, that the body what we have right now is totally different from the body what we had many years ago, or from the body what we had at the time of death. According to medical science, every 7 years, all the cells in our body are completely replaced. So if that is true, that means every 7 years we are reincarnating. We are completely reincarnating. So that means it is not at all difficult for us to understand that at the time of death, we can get another body. So one shloka very nicely explains Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. Tata dehantara prapti diraha tatra namukyat. So Krishna is very scientifically explaining that. So kaumaram yavvanam jara. Kaumara means boyhood. Yavvanam youthhood. Jara old age. So we are changing bodies from boyhood to youth to old age. So that's why if you meet some of our friend, maybe childhood friend, you are meeting him after 30, 40 years, you cannot recognize that person at all because the body has completely changed. Unless that person says, then only it is very difficult. You cannot even recognize. So that way, the law of conservation of soul is that the soul is always there. So the soul can neither be created nor be destroyed. Now, science can't prove the soul. If we ask science to prove the soul by means of showing, by means of with some kind of electron microscope seeing it, it is not going to be possible. Only we need to understand the way we understand about electrons, protons, neutrons, all the atomic structure, everything. So that way we can understand the soul. So that way we can see. Because I'm talking because I'm the soul, I'm not the body, and because that's why I have the energy and do all these things. So for all of us. So that way the soul is invisible. It doesn't reflect light. That part we need to be very clear. So we can see anything in this world which reflects light. If it is not reflecting any light, if it absorbs everything, if it doesn't reflect light, or if it just transmits, it's not reflecting. So that means we cannot see it. So that's why the soul is invisible. It doesn't reflect light. So we cannot, with our modern science, see the soul. And it is inaudible. It doesn't produce any sound. Whatever we are hearing, it has to make some sound vibration in the air. It is actually pressure fluctuations. So when I talk, the air in front of me is getting fluctuating, so it's vibrating. So that's why it is getting into the mic, and then it gets to everyone. It's converted into electrical energy and all such things. It's all getting into everyone. So that way, the soul doesn't produce any sound. So then how can you hear the soul? So the soul is inaudible. The soul is invisible and inaudible, and it's odorless. It doesn't produce any smell also, and it is tasteless. So we need, if anything, to be taste. Now they even say that if this coronavirus comes, if a person gets it, so he will lose the smell and taste, all such things. So if our taste buds are not, if it is not producing any taste, then we cannot taste it. So it doesn't taste, and it cannot be touched. When all these things are true about the soul, so then how can we expect any scientist to produce some kind of article in a reputed journal saying that, oh, this soul, there is no soul, or I have found the soul? Nothing. It's not going to be possible at all. We just have to understand. So how we are accepting this modern science, all the theories. So like that, we need to accept this soul. So then the advancement what we are going to make is so much. Just if our scientists didn't believe in the existence of electrons from the beginning, if somebody came and said that there are electrons, there are all these theories and all those things, and if people didn't believe and didn't continue, so we will not be here like this. So because people believed in, the scientists believed in, and now we have so much of knowledge. So similarly here, if we believe in, so that's what is very important. The only qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the king of knowledge. It is Raja Vidya. But any subject, any college, any reputed institution, when you want to go and study, you need to meet a lot of qualification. They will go through holistic review and you need to meet a lot of qualification. But here the only qualification is just believing in. That's it. So if you have faith, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. But the benefit what we are going to get out of that is immeasurable. There is no doubt about it. So now, this is a very nice video. Just watch through. I hope it will play without any issue.
Prof, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Prof, good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine, sir.
Fine, sir.
What are you people drinking?
This is Freshio. Freshio is back.
Yes, sir. Freshio is back. That's nice. Ma Angel, I heard you just won the YouTube Gold Award. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Wow. You people are really trying, you know. Thank you, sir. It's God, though. It's God that is doing everything for us.
Yes, sir. It's God.
God? Which God? your God. Where is your God?
Our God is in heaven.
Can you see your God?
No,
Can you touch your God?
no.
Then there is no God. Science has proven it that anything you cannot see or touch does not exist. So you don't have a God. But sir, are you a graduate? I am a professor.
Professor, excuse me. How do you know there is no God?
Common sense. I use my sense.
Where is your sense?
My sense is up here.
Can you see your sense?
No.
Can you touch your sense?
No.
That means there is no sense.
Hmm?
Yes, because according to sense, anything you cannot see or touch does not exist. So you don't have sense.
Emanuela.
Okay.
Bravo.
So that's a very interesting video actually. So that's why we cannot depend for everything on this science, because this Bhagavad Gita is also a science and it is the king of knowledge, Raja Vidya. So it is just not a part of a religion. This Bhagavad Gita is the age old. It's a time tested knowledge. It is the Purana, the oldest. It is Avyayam. It is always there. So now the next slide, what we are understanding is that the matter can't destroy soul. So now let's go through it quickly here. Because the earth is a solid. So, but the soul, the solid earth, which you can make sharp weapons from the earth, but you cannot break the soul into pieces. Soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon. So that's what we need to understand. So, Nainam Chintanti Sastrani. So in one sloka, Krishna is saying that Nainam Chintanti Sastrani. Sastrani means weapons. So you cannot break. So this is Achedyoyam. Achedyoyam means unbreakable. Achedyoyam. Nainam Chintanti Sastrani. And then water. Water is a liquid. So we understand solid, liquid, all those things. And water is a good solvent. What is a good solvent? Especially all the polar molecules, it solves nicely. What is a good solvent? Polar solvent. But the soul is insoluble. The soul, so water cannot touch the soul. Water cannot dissolve the soul. The soul is not a solute. So there is achedyoyam, akledyoyam. So that's why nainam chintanti sastrani, nainam dakati pavaka, nachainam kledayanti apo. Nachainam kledayanti apo means you cannot dissolve the soul in water. The soul can never be dissolved by water. So then fire. So fire cannot burn the soul into ashes. The soul is fire resistant. So any amount of temperature, nothing can do anything to the soul, because the soul is not made up of matter. So soul can never be burned by fire. So that's why nainam chintanti sastrani, nainam dakati pavaka. Nainam dakati pavaka means the soul cannot be burned by fire. That's why it is achedyoyam adahyoyam. Adahyoyam means it cannot be burned. So then what about the wind, the air? The air also cannot do anything. It is non-dryable. So the air, we cannot wither. It cannot be withered. So the soul can never be withered by the wind. So this is the properties of the soul. So we need to understand very clearly from Bhagavad Gita that until now what we understood, that we are not the body, we are the soul. That part is very clear scientifically. But this soul cannot be destroyed by matter. That part also we need to understand. So na hanyate hanyamane sarire. When this body is killed, so the soul is not. So that's what yayenam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate khatam ubautam na vijanito nayam hanti na hanti. Then means anyone who thinks that the soul is the killer. Yayenam veti hantaram. Anyone who thinks that the soul is the killer. Yayenam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate khatam. Anyone who thinks that the soul can be killed. So Ubautav na vijanito. Both of them are not in knowledge, because na hanti, na hanyati. The soul cannot be killed and it cannot kill. So that's what we need to understand, that the matter cannot destroy the soul. Now, same body, same soul, but changing body. So that part I have already explained earlier. So Baihub body, there is Kaumaram, it is the same soul. So Kaumaram, boyhood body, it is the same soul. And youthhood body, so that is the same soul, Yavvanam, Kaumaram, Yavvanam. And old age body, Jara, so that is the same soul. So Kaumaram, Yavvanam, Jara. Dehinosmin yata dehe Kaumaram, Yavvanam, Jara. The body is different. Boyhood body is different. Youth body is different. Old body is different. But the soul is the same. It is the same soul. So the soul is the same. It is never changing. So there is nasato vidyate bhavo, na abhavo vidyate sataka. That means asataka vidyate na bhavo, the one which is temporary is always changing. That is the body. Na abhavo vidyate sataka, the one which is permanent is never changing. That is the soul. So that's what we need to understand, that the soul never changes, but the body changes. So this in one verse, Krishna is saying very clearly, very nicely. He's giving a very good analogy, example for us to understand. When our dress, when our garments, it gets old and becomes useless. What we do, we will not keep on wearing the same thing. We'll just throw it away and we'll get a new one. So similarly, when our body gets old and useless, so we'll just throw it away and get a new body. So for dresses, maybe a little bit there is torn somewhere, we can just stitch it. But if it tears somewhere, we can stitch it. Same thing happens to our body. If there is some cut or something, if it's bleeding, we can stitch it. But if it is damaged beyond fixing, then we will just throw it away and get a new body. So that's why vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grihnati naro parani tata sarirani vigaya jirnani anyani samyati navani te. So how one gives up the old dress, old garments and gets a new one. Similarly, when our body becomes old and useless, tata sarirani vigaya jirnani. Sarirani jirnani means when our body becomes old and useless. So vihaya, we will give it up. Anyani samyati navani degi. We will accept a new body. That's what anyani samyati navani degi. So that's why as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So now, what is the reality of our current life? Three modes of material nature, they bind the soul with the body. So that science is very nicely explained in Bhagavad Gita. It is Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Gunas, the mode of goodness, patience and ignorance. Sattvam, Rajas, Tamayithi, Gunaha, Prakriti, Sambhavaha, Nibandhanandi, Mahabaho, Dehe, Dehinam, Avyayam. So they are binding. Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamo Gunas. These three modes of material nature are binding the soul inside the body. So that means we are caged inside this body. We are not the body, we are the soul, but the soul is arrested. The soul is put inside this body. That is the peg. So it is bonded. Like there are so many bonds. We have covalent bonds, all kinds of bonds are there, ionic bonds, then hydrogen bonds in our body. So like that, the soul is bound to our body. So that's the peg we need to understand from this Bhagavad Gita. So the three modes of material nature are doing their thing. And they are not only doing their thing, and the three modes of material nature is forcing us to do everything. We are not doing anything. Everything, we are just like a machine. Yantra rudani mayaya. So yantra means a machine. Mayaya means the modes of nature. So the modes of nature using this body as a machine to do everything. We are not doing anything, but we wrongfully, foolishly, we think that I am doing it. When something goes good, I did it. Great, I did it. When something goes bad, you did it. No one did it. I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. No one did anything. Everything is done by the three modes of material nature. So that concept, that science, very, very clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita. So the entire Bhagavad Gita, many chapters, many verses, they are focusing on this very important fact that everyone is controlled by these three modes of material nature. Nakikasit chanamapi jatu tistati akarmak. Karyatege avasaga karma sarvaga prakriti jairpune. Not even a single moment one can refrain from doing something. Everyone is forced to act helplessly by the three modes of material nature. That is the fact. That is a very important scientific fact we need to understand. So the meaning of ahankara, that is false ego, is thinking that I am doing it. when in reality everything is done by the three modes of material nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunahi karmani sarvasat. All the activities are carried out by the three modes of material nature. But ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyade. But a fool, vimudatma, a fool due to ahankara, due to false ego, thinks that I am doing it. So that is the reality of our life. So in reality, the modes of nature is carrying out all the activities. So what the soul is doing then? The soul simply suffers life after life with six senses, which include the mind due to the forceful control of the material modes of nature. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivam se jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. This jiva, the soul, that living entity is of my nature. But manasastani indriyani prakriti stani karsati. But they are struggling hard in this material nature with six senses, which include the mind. So that is the fact, that is the reality we need to understand. So now we are almost getting close to finish. So what happens at the time of death? You need to understand, death is nothing but an event of change of body by the soul. Our body is always dying. The cells in our body is always dying. At that time we don't worry, because we are here in the same world, the relationships are same, everything is same. But our body is always changing. We are losing. Our cells we are losing every day. So much of cells are losing and new cells are forming. Our body is always changing. Similarly, at the time of death, we will totally change into a new body, starting from a new cell, single cell, and then start growing, dividing from there. So that's what death is, an event of change of body by the soul. And at the time of death, the soul carries the different conceptions of life from one gross body to another. The main important thing, you understand the difference between gross body and subtle body. So subtle body is made up of our mind, intelligence, and false ego. Whereas gross body is earth, water, fire, air, and space. So when we change our gross body, the mind, intelligence, and false ego, ahankara, they are carried to the next body because there is a part of the subtle body. So that's what Krishna is saying there. Sariram yad avapnoti yachapyuktramati swaraga grihitvaitani samyati vayuhu gandhan ivasayat. So vayuhu, the air carries aromas from one place to another place. So like that we carry the conceptions of life from one body to another body. That's why each and every person is on his own different. The individual characteristics. There is swabhava. So it's coming from the previous birth. Otherwise, if everybody is made up of only the matter, everybody is made up of only carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and water, H2O, all these things, then why each person is behaving differently? Why someone is at the time right from birth is behaving so nice and someone is behaving very, very rough? All these things, all these behaviors, characteristics, how it is coming? It's coming from birth actually. We need to understand right from birth it happens. And then in our life also, when we do with our environment, all those things, when we changes, so they like epigenetics, so a lot of things will change. So, but right from birth also, it is coming from our previous birth. So that means in our current life, we are defining our next body. Whatever the mindset at the time of death, that we are going to get in our next body. That's why in the next bullets, Krishna is saying that the soul obtains a new body with certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind, then enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Sotram, Chaksugu, Sparsanam, Rasanam, Granam, Evacha. Adhishtaya, Manaschaya, Misayan, Upasevati. So Sotram means ears, Chaksugu, eyes. Sotram, Chaksugu. Then Sparsanam means touch, sense of touch. Rasanam, sense of taste. And Granam, sense of smell. Sense means the nose, basically nose. The eyes, tongue, nose, ears, skin, all those things, they are all grouped together. Adhishtaya, Manaschaya. Mana means mind. At the time of our death, depending upon our mindset, we are getting particular type of body. And then depending upon what body we get, you enjoy particular type of sense objects. Visayan. Visayan means sense objects. Visayan upasevati. So now, this is the law of birth and death. So I already explained the law of conservation of soul. What is the law of birth and death? Now, we know that as sure as death, when a person is born, he is sure to die. That we know for sure. But only there is a question that what happens after death. Now with all our understanding today, going through everything, so this body is always changing. So it is not at all difficult to understand or accept the scientific fact that we will get another body at the time of death. So that's why Jatasya ki dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mrityasya. So Jatasya ki means when we have taken birth, death is certain, assure us death. Similarly, when we die, birth is also sure. So that's why death is certain for one who has taken birth. Assure us death. Birth is also certain after death. So that is the law of birth and death. Okay, this is close to the end, and this is a very important slide. So what is going to be our life after death? What's going to happen after death? So this is a if, then, else statement. So in the programming, if you do, I did a lot of computer programming during my PhD days in Fortran. We always use this if, then, else statement. Now also all the programs, they use this. So if at the time of death, the question is asked if the soul liberated from the modes of nature. So the goal of our life is to free ourselves, liberate ourselves from the three modes of material nature. So I mentioned that the three modes of material nature are very powerful and very strong, and they are always controlling. So we should use this life to free ourselves from these modes of material nature. So if we are liberated, if that question is answered yes, so then we are freed from, then we are freed from old age, disease and death. Then we go to spiritual realm. So that means we will not accept another material body. So this soul, which is by nature, it's a spirit, which is not made up of matter. So there is no point in getting itself stuck and caged and bonded and glued to this material body. So that's why if that answer is yes, then we are freed. But what if the answer is no, which is true for most of us, unfortunately? Because in this life, we take it for granted everything and we try to enjoy. We simply waste this precious human life. And similarly, death comes, it comes to everyone. Nobody can avoid it. So when death comes, if then else. If the soul is liberated from the modes of material nature, then we are freed from this material body, material veil. Else, if the answer is no, then the soul is bound to take birth again in the material veil. So then again, this material body gets into old age and death. Jara, marana. Jara, marana, old age, disease, vyadi. Then death, marana is death. So old age, disease, and then death. So then again, after we die, again the same question is asked. And there too it is asked only for the human bodies. If you get human body, if you get into another animal body or different animal bodies, different bodies, this option itself is not there. We have to evolve. This is called real evolution. The evolution is that we need to evolve into get this human body. Now, having got this human body, this is a very important question. But if the answer is no, then this goes through this cycle forever. This is like if in that if then else statement in our programming. So if we make something wrong, then if it is divided by 0 or something like that, it gets into a loop. It never exits. It just goes on. That's what is happening, unfortunately, for most of us. Because of our not having this knowledge, not having an understanding that we are the soul, so simply we are focusing on all our other material things in our life. We are wasting this precious human life. So we are getting into this cycle of repeated birth, old age, disease and death. So this is an opportunity. We need to get out of this cycle. So the foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all these things. Utramantam sitam vapi bunjanam va gunanvitam vimudananu pasyanti jnana chakshusa. So vimuda means fool. Nanu pasyanti means cannot see all these things. Pasyanti means one can see jnana chakshusa, who has got the eyes of knowledge. So that's why this eyes of knowledge, this Bhagavad Gita is very important. So now the summary, we have come to the last slide. So until now, what all we studied, what all we understood? I am not this body, I am the soul. If we go through this presentation again and again, if we study this Bhagavad Gita fully, we come to this conclusion, we understand very clearly that we are not the body. I am the soul. But I'm always suggesting the soul, there is no birth, no death at any time. It's always there. But I'm bound to the body by the three modes of material nature. I'm not doing any activity. I'm not at all doing anything. All the activities are forcefully carried out through me by the three modes of nature. But due to false ego, I foolishly think that I am doing all the activities. So the goal of my life is to get liberation from the three modes of nature and attain a permanent blissful life, which is free from old age, disease, and death. So this is a very important summary. So we need to understand. So I'm thank you all for giving this opportunity. Now, I don't know why I put this science can't prove. So this is a mistake on the title. But this is basically about Bhagavad Gita important. Bhagavad Gita is the shining lamp of knowledge, which destroys the darkness of ignorance. So Bhagavad Gita is Raja Vidya, Raja Kuhyam, Pavitram, Uttamam, Pratyaksha, Vagamam Dharmyam, Susukam Kartum Avyayam. Raja Vidya, it is the king of knowledge. Raja Guhyam, it is the most confidential knowledge. Because not everybody can easily understand Bhagavad Gita. Even though it's available as a book, one needs to be, first of all, the qualification, meet the qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita. That qualification is faith. And when anyone studies Bhagavad Gita, we need to take everything as it is. That's why Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's very important. We cannot remove, for example, oh, Krishna, let me just remove Krishna out of this. I will study Bhagavad Gita. I will talk about mind, senses, everything. That's not going to work. That's why this Bhagavad Gita is the most confidential knowledge. Krishna very clearly said that this knowledge cannot be understood by anyone who is envious of me. So there is no point in just removing Krishna out of this Bhagavad Gita and then trying to study Bhagavad Gita. Then it doesn't make any sense at all. So Krishna says that me, aham, mama, like that many places. So that way, this is the most confidential knowledge. That means only a person who believes in Bhagavad Gita and Krishna can understand this Bhagavad Gita. And then it is the purest knowledge. It is pavitram. Pavitra means it's the purest knowledge which purifies our soul. Atma Suddhaye. Kayena, Manasa, Buddhi. One should actually kevalam indriyeri api yoginaga karma kurvanti sangam tektva Atma Suddhaye. Bhagavad Gita teaches us about how to act, how to perform our duty without any attachment to the results. That means not getting affected by the results. So if you have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the rest is guaranteed that in whatever activity we are doing, we are going to shine. We are going to do it great. We are going to achieve victory. We are going to achieve success. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Because the Bhagavad Gita is the unlimited source of motivation and inspiration. So that way it is the purest knowledge. It purifies ourself. So it is everlasting knowledge. It is Uttamam. It is topmost knowledge. And we can directly perceive ourselves. Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam. Susukam Kartum means it is joyfully performed. This Bhagavad Gita can be joyfully performed. Because when we understand about ourselves, understand that we are not the body, we are the soul, it gives us so much joy, so much happiness. It is joyfully performed. So I want to thank Lord Shri Krishna for giving Bhagavad Gita to this world and acknowledge Srila Prabhupada for his book Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's a very important book. So without which it is impossible for me to prepare and deliver this presentation on Who Am I? So now I want to make very important announcement that I'm actually every day I'm teaching Monday through Saturday in US timing and Tuesday to Sunday in India time. That is Monday to Saturday at 9 p.m. CST and then Tuesday to Sunday at 7:30 a.m. IST. So Bhagavad Gita, there are many devotees, many people, participants are joining and getting benefited. So I go one shloka every day. So dive deep into each and every sloka and so that you will get the complete understanding of this Bhagavad Gita. So today we have discussed very important, we have found answer for very important question about who am I. So now being serious on this, in order to liberate ourselves from the three modes of material nature, we need to get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. This is a great opportunity. Not everyone can get this opportunity. Only 1 in 1,000 will get this opportunity. Means only 1 in 1,000 will make use of this opportunity. Manusyanam sahasresu kaschit yatati siddhi. So now we are about roughly more than 300 participants are there in this team. This is a big success for us because we are all one in 1,000 who get this opportunity to know about ourselves. This is a great eye opener for us. So we need to be very serious in this and get this knowledge. Then we are good. Materially speaking, we are going to be very successful. We are not going to lose anything. We are not going to lose anything. Right from day one, when I started studying Bhagavad Gita during my MTech days in IIT Bombay, I did great in my PhD. I finished it on time and got good publications, and I'm working as an engineering specialist in a multinational company. So all these things, with Bhagavad Gita knowledge, it brings us so much energy in our life. So that way, I very strongly request and humbly request you to basically attend this Bhagavad Gita. It's the same Zoom link. For those of you who have got this Zoom link, this is the same Zoom link. You can just use this. And if you are in US time zone, then it is a 9 p.m. CST Monday through Saturday. And then if you are in India time zone, it is 7:30 a.m. IST Tuesday to Sunday. So that means tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m., we are having Bhagavad Gita class. And today evening, 9 p.m. CST in US time, we are having this Bhagavad Gita class. So I request all of you to join here. And one more announcement I want to make. Those who have actually joined our WhatsApp group, please stay in those groups. There is no need for you to leave, because I will use that group to send announcements about this Bhagavad Gita class every time when I join. When I join, I will send the message that I just joined the group, or we will also share all the videos, all the recorded videos. Even about this Who Am I lecture, a recorded video also will be shared in that group, in that WhatsApp group. So please stay in that group. So that way we can communicate. And we are also planning to have this kind of webinars at least once a month with different topics. Everything is focusing on Bhagavad Gita. So that way, if you stay in that group, then we can send the notification about that, and then we can get more and more knowledge. So I want to thank you all for giving this great opportunity today to share this knowledge, because this knowledge I didn't just get on day one, because it's like my PhD. This in Bhagavad Gita, I'm doing research and studying, and each and every sloka understanding. That's what is helping me to get all this knowledge. I'm very much hopeful and sure that today this presentation gave you something very, very useful in your life. And thank you again for joining. And I will now open this forum to questions. Actually, I'm very much willing to answer your questions, but I think you have to put in your questions in the chat.
Thank you very much. Of course, thank you everyone. And before going to the questions, I want to take a moment to thank few people who were behind this session to make it successful, especially Timur Prabhu and Shankar Prabhu, and different people who worked relentlessly to make it a big event. And I thank all the audience who engaged relentlessly. And I know that there have been a lot of questions, and everybody enjoyed your session. Thank you so much. It was really deep and thought-provoking. But I will start with the audience questions. I will tell the first question from Shankar, and the follow-up question from Vijay Lakshmi and Manasa Srinivas. The question is, what is the role of Sattva, Tamo, and Rajo Gunas in our life? How to get liberated from the three modes of nature?
Thank you for such a great question. So the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is completely dedicated to these three modes of material nature. So Sattva, Rajo, and Tamo Gunas. So Sattva Guna brings happiness and gives knowledge to us. So being in Sattva Guna is actually a good thing, even though we want to liberate ourselves from the three modes of material nature. But first we need to come to Sattva Guna. Then only we can free ourselves, because Sattva Guna leads to liberation. Sattva Guna brings happiness and knowledge. Jnana Sankena, Sukha Sangena. Whereas this Rajoguna, it is the mode of passion, it is Karma Sangena. It binds us to work, basically Karma Sangena. So that is not really good, because we are all working very hard, we are all forced to work. That is because we are controlled by the Rajoguna. That is the mode of passion. Sattva Guna means the mode of goodness. Rajoguna is the mode of passion. We are all forced to work. So then tamoguna is the mode of ignorance. It leads to laziness, and it's not really, we won't do anything good at all with the tamoguna. So with rajoguna, we are forced to work. So, but the problem here is that sometimes the mode of goodness is predominant, sometimes the mode of patience, some other times the mode of ignorance. The same person will, that's why we say that multi personality, correct? So person will behave differently depending upon what mode of nature is acting. So rajas tamas chabibhuyaga sattvam bhavati bharata, rajas sattvam tamas chaiva, tamas sattvam rajas tata. So that's what it says. So that way, these three modes of material nature are very, very important. We need to understand, and getting ourselves into sattva guna, and then Shuddha Sattva means we free ourselves from all the modes of nature. But how to free ourselves from the three modes of nature? This is a very, very important question. Krishna answers it in only one sloka very clearly. Na anyam gunebhyahat kartaram yatha drashanu pashyati. One who sees that nothing other than the three modes of material nature are acting. We should be able to see, we should be able to visualize in all the time. Only the three modes of material nature are acting. So, na anyam gunebhyaha kartaram yatha drashyan pasyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam so adhigacchati. So then he will be freed from the three modes of material nature. So first of all, to free ourselves from the three modes of material nature, we need to first of all realize, we need to feel that in each and everyone's activity, in our own activity and others' activity, everywhere we need to see how the material modes of nature are acting, how they are forcing. That's very important. And how we can be able to see that. Pasyanti jnana chakshusaga. One who has got the eyes of knowledge can only see that. So that's why we need to get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So once we get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita fully, knowledge means full. When we go to school, when we studying, for example, 12th grade, if we want to get good grades, we need to get good marks in all the subjects. We need to study everything. So because they will test him from anywhere. So like that, this Bhagavad Gita, we need to study this Bhagavad Gita fully, completely. All these slokas, all the verses, 18 chapters, 700 slokas. It's just one book. It's just one book. Earlier I was showing it, this Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is this book, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is written by Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, of course. So if we study this, understand this, then you will be able to free yourself from the three modes of material nature. So please join our Bhagavad Gita class every day. Same Zoom link. Already I will send out we will send out the flyer, the poster to everyone in our group. Yeah, please, Siva.
Yeah, next question is from Bharat Ranjan. It's an interesting question. He asks, why God is not helping even when we have a problem, even after asking unlimited times?
That's a very a good question. See, God is helping, but God can help only those who can help themselves. That is the main thing. For example, this Bhagavad Gita knowledge is there. It's available for all of us. How many of us are very serious in taking this knowledge? How many of us? Because this is a science. When we talk about soul, when we talk about Bhagavad Gita, we should not bring the different kinds of religions into picture at all. Bhagavad Gita, when we talk about the soul, it is a science. The science about ourselves. So, how many of us are ready to receive the help from God? We need to extend our hands. If God wants to lift us up, we need to extend our hands so that He can lift us up. He can help us. So that way, the truth, the fact is that God is helping us. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that nadate kasyachit papam nachaiva sukrutam vibhu ajnanena avrutam jnanam tena mukhyanti jantam. He says that I am not taking responsibility for anyone's good or bad deeds, but it's all because everyone is actually bewildered by ignorance, because their knowledge is covered by ignorance. So that's why if we get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then we will be able to receive the help from God. That is very simple, very, very simple. So we need to first of all listen to God. If you want to be able to get help from God, we need to listen to God. So in this Bhagavad Gita is the book where God is directly talking. That's the main thing. God himself is directly talking. He's giving, directly teaching us all the knowledge what we need. He's speaking directly. So we need to get this knowledge. So then we will be able to get the help from God. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Janaki Ram, and he asks, when we say Atma Shuddhi, is it purifying the subtle body or the self? If the self is Paramatmam, then there is no need to purify it, which is already pure, right?
That is good. That's a good question. Yeah. First question is that Atma Shuddhi means purifying our self. That's what. So having this material body and the subtle body, both gross body and subtle body, that itself shows that the soul is contaminated. That is the main thing. The soul, when Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita that Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayo, Kam, Mano, Buddhi, Evacha, Ahankaram, Itiyam me Binna Prakriti Rastat. They are separated. Binna means separated 8 natures. So earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego, Ahankara. They are separated nature. Whereas they are inferior nature. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim viddhi me param. So now you hear from me about the superior nature. That is Jiva Bhuta. This Jiva, that is the soul. And this Jiva, this soul is of my Amsa, is of my nature. Mamaiva Amsa. Mamaiva Amsa, Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sana. And Krishna is repeatedly saying in Bhagavad Gita, if you do this, then you will come to me. You will attain my nature. If you get freed from the 3 modes of material nature, Nanyam Gunebhiga Kartaram Yatha Drashtana Pasyati Gunebhyascha Parambeti Madbhavam Soadhigachati. You will attain my nature. Then, Idam Jnanam Upashitya Mamasa Dharmyam Agataha. If anyone takes shelter unto this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, he will attain my nature. So that's what Krishna is here. So the Suddhi, the Atma Suddha, also he says that the another shloka which I referred, Kayena Manasa Buddhya Kevalagi Indriya Rapi Yoginaga Karma Kuruvanti Sangam Tetva Atma Suddhi. So with the help of mind, intelligence, body, senses, everything, we should do our activity only to purify our soul, the self. So right now, the soul, there are, even our mind, intelligence and senses are also the sitting places of Kama and Krodha. Indriyani manobuddhi asyadisthanam uchchare etehi vimoheti esa jnanam avritya deginam. So that is covering our knowledge. There is Kama and Krodha. There is strong desire and anger. So that's what Kama and Krodha. So they are sitting. Mind, intelligence and senses are the sitting places of this lust and anger. So they are bewildering us. So because of that, we are under ignorance. They are covering our knowledge. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairi. Kamarupena kaunteya duspurena analena. So they covers our real knowledge. Avritam jnanam etena. And it burns like fire. So that way, in order to purify our soul, that Atma Suddhi means the self, our soul, we need to, first thing is that we need to get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is the purifier. Nahi jnanena sadrisam pavitra mika vidyate. Tat swayam yoga samsiddhaka kalena atmanivindi. So there is nothing else in this world which is purer than Bhagavad Gita. Nahi jnanena sadrisam pavitra mika vidyate. Krishna is not saying that Bhagavad Gita is the purest. Krishna is saying that there is nothing else which is purer than Bhagavad Gita. So that way, the real purification is the Atma Suddhi. It is this purify our self. That means getting rid of all this material body, material subtle grass, everything. So there is Atma. Atma is superior in nature. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bala sir. So next question is from Kiran A. He asks, what is the phenomenon of karma? If someone is doing bad things in this life, he should be punished in this life only, no? Why it is being carried to the next life?
Okay, that's another interesting question actually. We need to understand that having taken birth in this life, in this body, keeping a material body itself is a punishment. We think that when people accumulate wealth, people have a lot of things, we think that we get envious of them, thinking that they are enjoying not getting punished. In fact, the reality, the truth is that they are getting punished. Because the more and more we are materially connected, the more and more we are doing things in this world materially, we are getting ourselves bound more and more in this material world. Yajnatat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So any activity which is not done as an offering unto Lord, offering unto Krishna, is going to bind us to this material world. Lokoyam karma bandhana. So that way, in this world, there is no point in envying somebody who is becoming rich, who is enjoying. We cannot think that, oh, this guy got, this person has got great things and all. Only a person who has got this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, only he is the gifted person. So that way, the punishment in this world, getting more and more attached to this material world, more and more bonded to this material world, this karma bandha, janma bandha, everything is a punishment only. We are going to keep coming back to this world. We are not going to free ourselves. We are not going to liberate ourselves from this material world when we are an asura. So those kind of people who are committing sins, we think that, oh, they are enjoying here, they are doing all those things, because we think like that, but in reality, Krishna is saying that they are asuras. Asuram yoni maapanna mudaga janmani mama prapeva kaunteya tato yanti adamam gati. So having taken birth in this asuras, there is a demoniac species of life, they can never be able to come to me. So life after life after life, they will reach the most condemned destination. Tato yanti adamam gati. So that way, if we have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then we won't be seeing them as they are not getting punished, they are enjoying like that. In reality, everybody, actually, this law has got it's the law of karma. What is the law of karma? Each and every action has got an equal and similar reaction. So when we are attached to the results, we are bound by the results, and we are going to suffer in this material world. Living in this world itself is a punishment. It is dukkhalayam. Krishna repeatedly says in Bhagavad Gita, it is dukkhalayam, it is asasvatam, asukam, lokam. So this itself is a punishment. So we need to see like that with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So if we have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we should aim to get out of this place. There's no point in competing with materialistic persons in this world, because we are gaining to lose. We are not going to keep anything with us. We are gaining to lose. But spiritually speaking, if you get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, if you use this human life, very, very invaluable human life, precious human life, then we are going to gain the Supreme Lord's kingdom. We are going to go to spiritual world. Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita many places that come to my place. Yadgatva na nivartante taddama paramam mama. If you come to my place, then you will not come again back to this material world. Idam jnanam upashitya mamasadharmyam agata sargepi nopajayante pralayena vyadanti. If you take shelter unto this knowledge, then you will attain my world, and then you will not come back to this material world again at all. So that way, we need to see like that way only. So then this will help to answer this question. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next question is, I am combining three questions.
Yeah.
The first question is, sir, is it possible to eliminate kama, krodha, moha, lobha, ahankar, matsara permanently by Manjunatha Babu? This is the question. And the next question is, how to free ourselves from the influence of samskaras and karma and do away with the false ego?
Okay, the answer to all this question is again boils down to one simple answer. Okay, first thing is that it is possible. The question that is it possible? The answer is yes, it is possible. But what is the possibility? The possibility starts with getting this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. That is the main thing. If we understand this Bhagavad Gita as a science fully, completely, each and every chapter and sloka, because Arjuna is asking so many interesting and important questions to Krishna. This Bhagavad Gita is a lot of question answer. So Arjuna is asking very nice questions and Krishna is answering so elaborately. So if anyone understands this Bhagavad Gita fully, then if we get this knowledge completely, then all these things we will be freed from ahankara, because once we realize that we are the soul, we are not this body, once we understand that we are forced by the three modes of material nature, so then we will be able to free ourselves from this ahankara. Because this knowledge only helps us. This knowledge only is blissful. So that's why everything starts with the knowledge. So our goal here is to give this knowledge as it is. Just taking on the mission of Srila Prabhupada, who has written this Bhagavad Gita as it is. So just we'll stick only to Bhagavad Gita, only to 18 chapters, 700 shlokas, and our goal is only to go through each and every sloka and understand as it is, as Krishna said. And if all of us take this opportunity very sincerely by joining our English Bhagavad Gita class, and also I give Bhagavad Gita class in Tamil language also. There is evening at 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday in India time. It's evening at 6 p.m. So if we can join this Bhagavad Gita classes and understand all this knowledge fully, then whatever the questions you are asking, that's going to happen. Because Krishna is simply saying in Bhagavad Gita that at the time of death, if anyone remembers me, he will come to me. There is no doubt about it. So we need to connect ourselves with God. That is one important subject matter which I am not touched today. The very important, what is going to happen with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we will not only realize that we are the soul, but we will also realize that there is super soul. Super soul is also there in our body. There is Paramatma. So we are Atma, we are Jivatma, and Krishna is Paramatma. So once we realize that fact, and once we are able to connect with God with the help of this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, then we will be able to get rid of all these anarthas. Yes.
Thank you, Bala sir, for answering all the questions. I know, we have been getting tons of questions.
Yeah.
But we don't have enough time to answer all the questions. So
I think what I'm suggesting that I know I'm sorry I'm not able to answer everyone's question today, but that doesn't mean that you will not get the answer. Maybe I don't know if Siva Prabhu, there is a way we can record all these unanswered questions. We can try to answer later, and that way it will be nice. I'm suggesting, if possible, you just copy those questions in the chat window and keep it in a document, so that later we can try to record and send it if possible. And another important thing is that you are most welcome to join every day, so you can ask questions at that point of time also. That way I will be able to answer. So either way, we will definitely try to reach to you to give the answers to your questions. And thank you again to all of you for giving our team, giving myself, our team, this great opportunity. And Siva, Timir Prabhu, and Professor Shankar Prabhu, there are a lot of team members who helped to make this a very successful event. Actually, this is a very great event, and that means it's not we are not going to stop here. We are going to do this at least once a month, as I mentioned earlier. So with the different topics on Bhagavad Gita, and we are teaching every day also. So please make use of all these things, and you can also reach to me in my WhatsApp number also. We are in the WhatsApp group. You cannot send any messages, but you can send your personal messages to me. So that way, or to any of the admins in our group. So that way, we will be always we are always waiting to get back to you and give this knowledge. Our goal is only very easy and very straightforward and very simple. We just want to give this knowledge. So whatever we are enjoying, and we want to share. We want to share with everyone. So that way, we are always waiting to give this knowledge to you and hearing from you. Again, thanks a lot. And for those who are in India, so all of you have a great good night today. And for those who are in US time frame, and have a great weekend. Thank you all. And we will see again in the next session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.